Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Zebo Nation Plays the FM Scout Academy Challenge with FC Dallas. And here we are, Season 9. It's time for the Champions League. That's right. Last season, let's take a look at our competitions. Last season, we qualified for the quarterfinals of the Champions League by winning our group stage pretty handily. Now, we've already gone through... We've played the first leg of this quarterfinals. We are playing Sporting Kansas City. We had a not very effective 0-0 draw. It was not exciting in the least. I would show you the highlights, but quite frankly, there were not many, if any, highlights. I mean, I guess we can look at them. So I'm not exactly sure what went wrong here, but I do know that both teams played a pretty defensive game. See, that was the first half highlights. Lovely. Here's the second half highlights. Both teams played a pretty defensive game. We both pressured each other, but neither one of us could break the other's pressure. I think this is the one actually interesting highlight of the match. There's a turnover from Washington. And then off, Valenzuela misses the header. Centeno gets sort of an easy shot on Sanchez. Sanchez handles that just fine. And then they make one more run here. Sturridge is still kicking at 35 years old now. He won the Golden Boot last season. There's a nice play down to Rivas. Rivas tries to cross it, but Johnson is there at fullback. Valenzuela clears it up. And that's it. Those are the highlights for the entire match. As you can see, they're pressing their defense forward. But we weren't able to break it, even though I tried going long and stuff like that. So I don't know exactly what we're going to have to do. We can take a look. Well, I don't know. Do we want to take a look? I mean, I guess we can take a look at the match sort of... statistics, and as you can see, defensively we played all right in terms of ratings. You know, a lot of 7.0, 7.1 for our defensive players. Offensively, we didn't play horribly. Nobody had real bad numbers, but just nobody had good numbers. And the same can be said for them, really. They had some good defensive numbers. You know, George Hill, player of the match, had a very good game. And then offensively, they did not play very well at all either. So it was just a very defensive affair. It was a sloppy, muddy, rainy affair, so maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know how much weather really takes into account in FM, if it really slows people down and they give... I don't know if the database gives like negative attributes to players when they play in the cold and the rain and stuff like that. I don't know. I mean, it'd be cool if they did. This game's been going on long enough that maybe they've added some of those attributes in there, but yeah, it wasn't the best match, and it doesn't look like it's going to be the best match again today. Breezy, a downpour, 66 degrees Fahrenheit, so that is not, it's not cold at all, but it's not, you know, warm. It is still March, even though it's going to be played in Dallas. It's you know, still early spring down there in Texas. So I guess that brings us to the match. We'll take a look at our team selections. Well, wait a minute. We got something else going on. We can look at the rest of the Champions League and sort of get a feel for the rest of the quarterfinals. That was the other thing I wanted to do. So the first leg went pretty much to form. Tigres beating San Jose 3-0. That's a tough deficit for them to come back from. Mexico beat Philadelphia 3-1, so that's another excellent victory there for the Mexican Premier Division over the MLS. And then, of course, our 0-0 draw, and then Monterrey beat Atlas 6-4. So it looks like all the favorites went through in the first leg with very decisive victories other than us. I got to assume that we are the favorites against Sporting Kansas City. I consider us the favorites. I didn't really look at the line in terms of the betting line or anything like that. But I consider us the favorites, so I consider that that was kind of a letdown in that first match. It was an away game, so we get the home game here, and we get to we get to see what we can do. Let's take a look at Sporting Kansas City. Let's see if we can find some selection info here. So they've got not the greatest team in the world. A lot of two-star guys. Excuse me. A lot of aging players. And it's basically the same team they had last season. So I don't know. I don't really know what they're going to do. Looks like they brought in maybe Eric Illich, German, right defender. This guy could be a youngster here. Yeah, 20-year-old Korea. He might have been a draft pick for them. That left. So it looks like they brought in Eric Johnson. So it looks like they brought in a couple of players here and there, but nobody really spectacular. Nobody I'm looking at and saying, wow, we gotta watch this guy. They got one of our old goalkeepers there, Peter Begay. I don't see any of our other players. That's the one thing that's kind of interesting about these long saves when you start going on and on in seasons and trading players and moving players around. You start to see your old players on other people's teams. So there's old Daniel Sturridge still hanging around. He's only 34 years old. He's a youngster. 5 pace. I mean, the guy can barely move. Still has 17 finishing, though, so you got to watch out for him. But, this is a team we should be beating. There's just no question about that. So let's take a look at our team here. Stuart Cole in the first leg. He went down to Kansas City, had a little too much barbecue, and came down with food poisoning. You got to stick to that Texas barbecue. You don't need to be messing around with that Kansas City barbecue. Forget about that. But anyway, he came down with food poisoning, so we had to play our draft pick from last season, Weir, and he got a yellow card, so that was his second yellow card. So now Weir is suspended for this leg, but luckily Cole is back. He's over the food poisoning and ready to go. So we have our full and complete starting lineup. We've got Sanchez in goal, of course. Cole, Acosta at fullback. We're going to be playing Acosta early in the season. And then we're going to be moving on to one of our draft picks is going to move into that left fullback slot. But right now, our rookie players aren't familiar with our system enough to get in there and play. So I want to have players in there who are familiar with our system. And that is, so right now, the best option at left fullback is Acosta. And we all know that he can play defense just fine. So no problem. He's getting older. He's getting up there. He's 29 years old now. No, he's only 28. He'll be 29 this season. So, I want to keep him on the team as long as possible. His salary is not that much. It's going to be going down here in the next few years. So I think we'll be able to keep him on just as a guy who can help train our younger players and things like that. So he's very important to the club. I don't want to let him go, but his place in the starting lineup is going to have to start getting supplanted here by some younger players. And we've got Valenzuela and Zimmerman in central defense. Then Van de Castile, of course, defensive midfielder. Guevara, McCrecky in the midfield. Zamora, advanced playmaker. And then Alcantara, Washington in striker positions. The one move we made that was fairly recently is we got a very, very tempting loan offer for Daniel Goldman, our backup goalkeeper. So I wanted to send him out on loan because he's not going to get enough playing time now that the preseason is over. So we sent him out on loan. We got his fees paid for and all that kind of stuff, so that's good. But that leaves us with our only reserve goalkeeper is Kevin Lure, an academy player from a couple of seasons ago from Ecuador. And he's not that good, so hopefully we don't need him. Hopefully Sanchez doesn't get hurt, especially in this game, because then our only option in goal will be Lure, and that's not great. So, yeah, I guess that's it. We'll submit this team and get ready to rumble. If we don't qualify for this Champions League, it'll be a huge disappointment. It'll be a huge, I don't know, sort of a hitch in our plans here. Anyway, it's a close call, but I've got to go for FC Dallas today. Sporting Kansas City will give it everything, but FC Dallas should come out victorious. All right, so Even the writers favor us. Can you tell us why Alex Johnson isn't involved? I'm privileged to have a squad with fantastic depth. How about that? Maybe we should have put Johnson in there. I don't know. After Valenzuela made that key error. But I like having Johnson coming off the bench because he can play that right fullback position as well as central defense. So if we do score and we do go up, we can bring him in and solidify our defense. So there we go. Oh, they're changing their formation up a little bit. Last game they went with the 4-1-2-3 wide. Now they're going with the 4-2. So they just dropped one of their midfielders down into defensive midfielder position. They're going with that double defensive midfielder position that I don't like. And then they sort of have the wide diamond up at the top. So that's going to be an interesting formation to go up against. They've got Hogan at striker, Centeno and Johnson on the wing. So that's a pretty decent amount of strikers they've got going on up there. A decent amount of firepower they have. It looks like they'll probably bring Sturridge off the bench. Yep, there's Sturridge. And Rivas as well. So they got a lot of firepower coming off the bench as well. So we gotta watch out for these guys. All right, so we're gonna apply our advice to our team. We're gonna close down on their attacking players. Continue to the pep talk. Let's be passionate. We're the favorites here. Go out there and impress me. All right, instructions. We're gonna go start with our control game. Last game we started standard, and we were just a little, I don't know, not aggressive. So we're going to start out with control. If that doesn't work, I think we'll just go on the attack. I mean, we gotta go after these guys. We should be the favorites. We should be winning. So let's start the match. All right, here we go. Listen to the sounds of the crowd. Now, of course, that first highlight is never very good, so we don't have to worry about that much. 4 minutes in. Sanchez with the goal kick. All right, boys, let's get that ball. Looks like Johnson's going to track it down. Trying to look at their defense here. Looks like their defense is staying back for the most part. Get that steal. Nope. Looks like they might be playing a bit of a control match as well. There's Centeno out there. Oh, a missed tackle. This is no good. This is no good. He gets it in. And Hogan scores the first goal of the match. Okay, this is disastrous. This is disastrous. We have to go on the attack now. There's no way around it. Because now they've got the away goal. We can't stomach a draw here. A draw will be our loss. And look at that. There's 3 defenders standing around doing nothing. They should have intercepted that. There is no doubt about that. I'm going to give them a pep talk. Passionately. Show some passion. Get out there. Alright, we need to try to retain possession. Okay, I think... Yeah, okay, so we'll just retain possession there. Injury to Zamora, stub toe. That's fine. You can stay on there. But the clock is ticking now. Just rolling. Kansas City is gone into a shell. There isn't much we can do about it. This is exactly how the first game went. They just closed up. I much expect to see a much better second half. I don't know what to do now attacking wise. Let's go fluid. That's about all I can see to do right now. Take off retain possession for the moment and see if we can just get something going. They start with the ball in the second half. We need to move on here, boys. We need a victory in this game. Could not stomach a defeat here. Centeno, there's finally Cole gets a tackle. It was his fault last time for missing that last tackle. Got them their goal. Here we are, 50 minutes already down. We have no chances. We have no highlights. We've done nothing offensively. Alcantara and Washington just not doing anything. Here we go. They get a highlight. Rivas is in the game. Sends one forward. Zimmerman heads it out. All right, so we're going to turn our instructions here. We're going to go route 1. Attacking, we're going to go high tempo. I don't know, we'll get stuck in. We haven't done that in a couple of seasons. But we got to do something to change this up. There's a nice steal from Zamora. Washington, what's he going to do with it? He's going to control it. See, this could be our problem. Is when we win the ball, we don't send it downfield to one of our talented strikers. Zamora gets it to Alcantara. Gets it out wide to Cole. Come on, send it in to Washington. He's double covered, but it doesn't matter. Gets the goal. Gets the goal. Are we going to cancel those pending changes? And there's our first goal. Okay, so that gets us back to 1-1, but we need a goal. We can't, we can't suffer a draw here. Draw does us no good because that gives them the away goal, and they'll win it on away goals. All right, coming up on 70 minutes now, so now I'm going to change and actually make those changes. Close down more, get stuck in, bomb the ball forward. Maybe we'll take out Zamora, I don't know. He is injured, getting tired, but okay, 75 minutes, we're just rolling. Here we go, here's a highlight. Cole to McCrecky. To Guevara. Is Guevara going to take a shot? He's got the long shot ability, but presses it well wide. Not much of a chance there. 78 minutes. All right, so got some interesting players on the bench. We're going to bring in Calatiud here at advanced playmaker. I think that's our only option at this point, so we'll just stick with that for now. This is very tense. We need that second goal. A yellow card from Guevara. 80 minutes down, not a lot happening. 82 minutes down. Yellow cards all over the place. Okay. Tactics. We're going to try something a little crazy here. Let's see. Yeah, we're going to move Van de Castile up to striker, and then we're going to bring in Ben Manning, make him an advanced forward in attack mode. So we are going a little bit crazy here. We're going to move Acosta into attack. McCrecky. We'll keep him here. Guevara, we're going to move him box-to-box midfielder, so maybe he'll get forward a little bit more. And, we're just going forward, just going to send it all forward, and here they are. Valenzuela wins it, sends it up to Brown. Can Washington make a steal or something? Can they make a mistake? There's a mistake. McCrecky gathers it in to Calatiud, gets it forward to Washington. Washington's triple covered in the box. Where's Manning at? And here's Kansas City on the counter. No good. Nothing happens with that. All right, we're coming down to the end here. 86 minutes to go. There's Manning, sends it forward to Guevara. Guevara to Alcantara. Everybody rushing forward. Alcantara sends it forward to Washington. Washington gets the header. There's the goal. There's the goal. All right. So we're going to go back into counterattack here. That rest of that stuff is fine. Structured. All right, so we're going to go into counterattack, and then we're going to change our formation back again. So let's check this out. Guevara gets it out wide to Alcantara. Chips it. Nice chip shot over the defense, and there's Washington using that tremendous size and athletic ability to just go up over top of everybody. All right, so now let's pause it. Make some more tactical changes here. And what can we do? We can bring Calatayud back down. We can bring Guevara down to defensive midfielder. Can any of these guys? Manning can play advanced playmaker. That's fine. Bring Acosta back to defense. One more substitution to make. Cole is very tired, so we're going to bring Johnson in at the right fullback and make him a defensive fullback. So there we go. We're switching to a very defensive formation. So hopefully we get these changes in before they get another opportunity. All right, so there we go. 4 minutes of stoppage time we've got to deal with. 2 minutes, 3 minutes. All right, so here's the last highlight of the match. 30 seconds to go. Can we hold on? Can we keep the peace? Keep this 2-1 desperation victory. We pulled out using some wacky tactics. Valenzuela getting the header. 15 seconds to go. Last ditch attempt for Kansas City. Strauss gets it tackled away by Calatayud. Gets it up to Washington, Alcantara. And there's the victory. We had to pull out a little bit of wackiness. You know, I haven't done that in a long time. Need to step it up against better competition, boys. Now, you got to credit Kansas City for coming out with a very good defensive game plan and really sticking it to us after they got that first goal. But I guess, you know, there's sometimes you can't just sit back and take a loss or take a draw. Sometimes you got to be a little more adventurous, I guess you'd say, and go out there, change your tactics, do whatever you need to do. So there's Washington with the 2 goals. He gets to be the man of the match, 8.8 rating. Very good for him. Rest of the team, not so much. We can take a look at our stats and analysis. You know, not the best ratings in the world. Acosta did not play well. So, you know, he's getting to the end of his lifespan as a starter, that's for sure. I think this will probably be the last game he starts, and, you know, barring injuries and stuff like that. But other than that, everybody else was very, very average, except for, of course, well, Washington. Yeah, I thought that was Alcantara for a second there, but everybody except for Washington, and I guess Valenzuela had a decent rating. But on their side is pretty much the same as last game. Their defense played okay, even though their defense played a little worse this game. And their offense was just kind of mediocre. The guys that came off the bench played well. Centeno played well. Oh no, he was their starter. So he played well, but they subbed him out. Anyway, take a look at the analysis. 16 interceptions for Valenzuela. A lot of passes for our midfield, of course. 0 chances for Alcantara. He was complaining a little bit. He was down in the dumps. He wanted a new contract, so we signed him to a new contract. He's now getting paid like $2.1 million a season, which is by far our largest contract. You know, most of that doesn't count against the salary cap, of course, because we made him a designated player. But still, he was just a little off this preseason, so hopefully Alcantara can bounce back with a much better season than he's had so far. On their side, they look pretty good. 8 shots saved for their goalkeeper, so their goalkeeper, Norfelt, played very well. 34-year-old Swede. Yeah, they had a lot of good possession, a lot of good passes. So we gotta, I don't know. Maybe we took Kansas City a little bit too lightly because we beat them 4 or 5 matches in a row now. All right, so that's it. We triumph in the second leg. Dallas wins the quarterfinal. Zamora injured, out for 3 to 5 days. That's fine. Washington impresses. Yes, that's good. Take a look at the schedule here. Not sure when the next Champions League game. I thought we played again pretty soon for that semifinals. Let's see. What are we looking at here? Looks like Monterrey beat Atlas 2-1. It gives them an 8-5 aggregate. We beat Sporting Kansas City 2-1. Gives us the 2-1 aggregate. Mexico beat Philadelphia 1-0. Gives them a 4-1 aggregate. And then Tigres beat up on poor old San Jose 6-0, gives them a 9-0 aggregate victory. 2 red cards for them, though. That's not good. Anyway, that looks like the next round. It's going to be probably, I think we might get Tigres. Might be Monterrey versus America. Nope, we get to play America. All right, FC Dallas will play CF America in the Champions League semi-finals. So there it is, Monterrey versus Tigres. That's going to be a pretty heated game down there. That should be outstanding viewing, but I think our game's going to be pretty good as well. What do we know about America? Players, let's take a look at their senior squad. Not a lot, so we better start scouting these guys and get ready for our next Champions League game. So there it is. The first leg comes up in about 2 weeks, and then looks like maybe 2 or 3 weeks after that is the second leg. That's kind of a long way to sit and wait between those first and second legs, but you know what? I guess that's what the schedule permits. So neither of those games are going to be televised either. That's too bad. All right, so there we go. In the semifinals of the Champions League. We'll come back for that game next. So I'll see you then. Bye-bye.